Shalom. Now we're going to start off with Genesis 46. And Yisrael set out with all he had, and came to Beersheba, and slaughtered slaughterings to Yahu'ah of his father Yishak. And Yahu'ah spoke to Yisrael in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here I am. And he said, I am the Yahu'ah of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Mishraim, for I shall make you there into a great nation. I find myself am going down with you to Mishraim, and I myself shall certainly bring you up again. And let Joseph put his hand on your eyes. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Yisrael brought their father Jacob and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to transport him. And they took their livestock and their property which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and came into Mishraim, Jacob and all his seed with him. His sons and his sons' sons, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed, he brought with him to Mishraim. And these were the names of the children of Yisrael, Jacob and his sons who came into Mishraim. Reuben was Jacob's firstborn. And the sons of Reuben, Hanak, Palu, Heshron, and Carmi. And the sons of Shem, Yemuel, and Yemen, Ohad, and Yakin, and Shohar, and Shaul, son of a Canaanite woman. And the sons of Lui, Gershon, Kehath, and Merari. And the sons of Yehuda, and Onan, and Shalal, and Peretz, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Peretz were Heshron and Hamel. And the sons of Yishakar, Tola, and Puah, and Yob, or Yob, and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Sered, and Elon, and Yahael. These were the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padam Aram, and his daughter Dinah. All the beings, his sons and his daughters, were 33. And the sons of Gad, Siphion and Hagi, Shuni and Espan, Eri and Arodi, and Ariel. And the sons of Asher, Yimna, Yeshua, Yeshui, and Beriah, and Sarah, their sister. And the sons of Beriah, Heber, and Malikael. These were the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter. And these she bore to Jacob 16 beings. The sons of Rael, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph in the land of Mishraim were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Pote, Perah, priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Benjamin, Bele, and Bekar, and Ashbael, Gera, and Naamim, Aher, and Rosh, Mupim, and Hupim, and Ard. These were the sons of Rael who were born to Jacob, 14 beings in all. And the son of Dan, Hushim. And the sons of Naphtali, Yatzhael, Guni, Yastir, and Shaleim. These were the sons of Bahal, whom Laban gave to Rahel his daughter, and she bore these to Jacob, 7 beings in all. All the beings who went with Jacob to Mizraim, who came from his body, besides Jacob's sons' wives, were 66 beings in all. And the sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Mizraim, were 2 beings. And the beings of the house of Jacob who went to Mizraim were 70. And he sent Yahu'ah before him to Joseph to point out before him the way to Goshen. And they came to the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Yashrael. And he appeared to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a long time. And Yashrael said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face, that you are still alive." And Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I am going up to inform Pharaoh, and say to him, my brothers and those of my father's house who were in the land of Canaan have come to me. And the men are shepherds, that they have been men of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. And it shall be when Pharaoh calls you and says, what is your occupation? That you shall say, your servants are from men of livestock, from our youth even till now, and we and also our fathers, so that you dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to Mizraites. Genesis 47. Then Joseph went and spoke to Pharaoh and said, my father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all that they possess, have come from the land of Canaan, and see, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brothers, what is your occupation? And they said to Pharaoh, your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, we have come to dwell in the land, because there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the scarcity of food is severe in the land of Canaan. And now please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Mizraim is before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you know of capable men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over my livestock. And Joseph brought in his father Jacob and set him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, how old are you? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, the days of the years of my sojournings are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not reached the days of the years of the life of my fathers and the days of their sojournings. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers, and gave them a possession in the land of Mizraim, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided his father and his brothers and all his father's household with bread for the mouth of the little ones. Now there was no bread in all the land, because the scarcity of food was very severe, and the land of Mizraim and all the land of Canaan became exhausted from the scarcity of food. Joseph gathered up all the silver that was in the land of Mizraim and in the land of Canaan for the grain which they bought, and Joseph brought the silver into Pharaoh's house. And when the silver was all spent in the land of Mizraim, in the land of Canaan, all the Mizraimites came to Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the silver is gone." And Joseph said, "Give your livestock, and I give you bread for your livestock, if the silver is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for the horses, and for the flocks they owned, and for the herds they owned, and for the donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. And when that year had ended, they came to him next year and said to him, "We do not hide from my master that our silver is all spent, and my master has the livestock we owned. There has not been any left before my master but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and let us in our land be servants of Pharaoh. And give us seed, and let us live and not die, and let the land not lie waste." And Joseph bought the entire land of Mizraim for Pharaoh, because every man of the Mizraimites sold his field, because the scarcity of food was severe upon them, and the land came to be Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he moved them into the cities, for one end of the border of Mizraim to the other. Only the ground of the priest he did not buy, for the priest had from what Pharaoh gave them by law. And they ate that which Pharaoh gave them by law, therefore they did not sell their ground. And Joseph said to the people, "Look, I have bought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Look, here is your seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall be that in the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 is yours, as seed for the field and for your food, for those And Yeshua dwelt in the land of Mizraim, in the land of Goshen, and they had possessions there, and dwelt, and were fruitful, and increased exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Mizraim 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. And the time for Yashrael to die drew near, and he called his son Joseph, and said to him, "Now, if I have found favor in your eyes, please put out your hand under my thigh, and show loving commitment and truth to me. Please do not bury me in Mizraim. But I shall lie with my fathers, and you shall take me up out of Mizraim and bury in their burial place." And he said, "I do as you have said." And he said, "Swear to me." And he swore to him, and Yashrael bowed himself on the head of the bed. 48. And after these events it came to be that it was said to Joseph, "See, your father is sick." And he took him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Jacob was old. "See, your son Joseph is coming to you." And Yashrael strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, "El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and baruched me, and said to me, See, I am making you fruitful, and shall increase you, and make you of an assembly of peoples, and give you this land to your seed after you as an everlasting possession. And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mizraim before I came to you in Mizraim, are mine, as Reuben and Simeon, they are mine. Your offspring whom you shall bring forth after them are yours. And let them be called by the name of their brothers in their inheritance. And when I came from Padam, Rahel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath. And I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. And Yashrael saw Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons whom Yahu'ah has given me in this place. And he said, Please bring them to me and let me bless them. And the eyes of Yashrael were dim with age, and he was unable to see. And he drew near them, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Yashrael said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, but see, Yahu'ah has also shown me your seed. So Joseph brought them from between his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand, and toward Yashrael the left, and Manasseh with his left hand, and toward Yashrael's right hand, and brought them near him. And Yashrael stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, consciously directing his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, The Yahu'ah before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the Yahu'ah who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the youths and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Your right hand is on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a people, and he also is great. And yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. And he blessed them on that day, saying, In you Yashrael shall bless, saying, Yahu'ah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. And Yashrael said to Joseph, See, I am dying, but Yahu'ah shall be with you, and shall bring you back to the land of your fathers. And I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the land of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. Chapter 49. And Jacob called his sons and said, Gather together, so that I declare to you what is to befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Yashrael your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my power and my beginning of my strength, the excellency of exaltation and the excellency of power. Boiling like water, you do not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Shimeon and Lewi are brothers, their weapons are implements of violence. Let my being not enter their council, let my esteem not be united to their assembly, because they killed a man in their displeasure, and they lamed an ox in pleasure. Cursed by their displeasure, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Yashrael. You, Yehuda, your brothers praise you. Your hand is on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children bow down before you. Yehuda is a lion's cub. From the prey you have gone up, my son. He bowed down, he crouched like a lion, and like a lion who does rouse him. The scepter shall not turn aside from Yehuda, nor an inscriber from between his feet, until Shiloh comes into him is the obedience of peoples. Binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine, he washed his garments in wine, and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun dwells at the seashore, and he is for a haven for ships, and his border is unto Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey lying down between two burdens. And he saw that a resting place was good, and that the land was pleasant, and he inclined his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a subject to slave labor. Dan rightly rules his people as one of the tribes of Yisrael. Dan is a serpent by the way, an adder by the path that bites the horse's heels so that its rider falls backward. I have waited for your deliverance, O Yahu'ah. Gad, a raiding band, raids him, but he raids its heel. Bread from Asher is rich, and he gives delicacies of a sovereign. Naphtali is a deer let loose, he gives words of elegance. Joseph is an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree, an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. His branches run over a wall. And the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. But his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Yisrael. And from the ale of your father who helps you, and by the Almighty who blesses you with blessings of the Shemayim from above. Blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors, up to the limit of the everlasting hills. They are on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. Benjamin is a wolf that tears. In the morning he eats prey, and at night he divides the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Yisrael, and this is what their father spoke to them, and he blessed them, and he blessed each one according to his own blessing. And he commanded them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite as a possession for a burial site. They there buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Yishak and Ribkah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The field purchased in the cave which is in it, from the sons of Heth. And when Jacob ended commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Genesis 50. And Joseph fell on his father's face, and wept over him, and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Yisrael. And 40 days were completed for him, for so are completed the days of embalming. And the Mishrites wept for him 70 days. And And when the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the hearing of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, See, I am dying, bury me in a burial site, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. And now, please let me go up and bury my father in return. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father as he made you swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Mizraim. And all the house of Joseph and his brothers and his father's house, only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And when the inhabitants, And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, and they lamented there with a great and very heavy lamentation. And he performed 7 days of mourning for his father. And when the inhabitants of the land of the Canaanites saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning for the Mizraites. That is why its name was called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond the Jordan. And his sons did to him as he had commanded them. For his sons brought him to the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Manre, which Abraham bought with the field from Ephron the Hittite as property for a burial site. And after he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Mizraim, he and his brothers and all who went up with him to bury his father. And when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, What if Joseph hates us and pays us back all the evil which we did him? And they sent word to Joseph, saying, Before your father died, he commanded, saying, This is what you are to say to Joseph. I beg you, please forgive the transgression of your brothers and their sin. For they did evil to you. Now please forgive the transgression of the servants of the Yahu'ah of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. And his brothers also went and fell down before his face, and they said, See, we are your servants. And Joseph said to them, Do not fear, for am I in the place of Yahu'ah? And you intended evil against me, but Yahu'ah intended it for good, in order to do it as it is this day, to keep a great many people alive. And now do not fear, I provide for you and your little ones. So he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. And Joseph dwelt in Mizraim, he and his father's household. And Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the third generation. The children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were also born on Joseph's knees. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am dying, but Yahu'ah shall certainly visit you and bring you out of this land, to the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph made the children of Yashrael swear, saying, Yahu'ah shall certainly visit you, and shall bring you up my bones from here. And Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was placed in a coffin in Mizraim.